Welcome to Job Readiness. This is a presentation with information about how to successfully look for work and information about what you should do when you get another job and it's time to return to work. Along with the information about how to look for work successfully and how to plan to return to work, you'll find much more detailed information in the printed materials provided for this presentation. So let's get started. Here's a snapshot of what it means to work at a job in the United States in the 21st century. Your average American works about 40 to 50 years, and usually that's when they plan on being semi-retired or they plan on being totally retired and not working at a job anymore. During that 40 to 50 years that they're working, your average American will change jobs once every 4 to 5 years. So on average, that works out to about 10 job changes in their career. This is a much different situation than how it used to be in this country, when people would stay at jobs for many, many years. Also, it's important to keep in mind that in America, in the 21st century, your average American worker is going to change their career about 3 times in that time period. That means that many Americans will start their career doing a specific type of job, and then, for whatever reason, they are going to change the type of work they do at least 2 more times. And this is especially true with younger Americans in their early 20s to their 30s. The unfortunate thing to remember about working in the United States in the 21st century is pretty simple. There's going to be a recession once every 7 to 10 years that you'll have to deal with. So obviously, when you work in the American workforce, everything changes, just like everything changes in your personal life. Even though you can get a job and stay at that job for a number of years, technically, any job that you have is a temporary job, no matter how long it lasts. Because at some point, there's going to come a day when you're not going to be working at that job anymore, for one reason or another. When you get to the point when your job ends, if you cannot afford to retire or be semi-retired, you'll probably have to get another job somewhere. So, it's important to keep in mind as you work in your career and as you think about the direction of your career and what's going to work the best for you and your financial obligations, you should plan ahead, especially for things beyond your control that can jeopardize your job. Basically, as an American worker, the best thing you can do is manage your career like it's a business. Essentially, that's exactly what everybody's job is. Most Americans do not work for themselves. Most Americans work for other people's companies. Basically, if you don't have what employers are looking for, it's going to be really difficult to get another job. There's 3 things you have to do, 3 things you have to deal with in order to have a successful job search and return to work. First thing you must do is come up with effective ways to sell yourself to employers. Basically, when you get a job anywhere, you have to close a sale with the employer. That means you have to successfully sell to the employer a product, and the product is you. One of the things you have to show about yourself to employers is that you have the necessary skills to do the job that you're asking for. But that's not enough. It's never enough to say you are the best person for any job. When you finally get to interviews, it is up to you to give them relevant information about the necessary skills you possess, and you must also provide a track record of success that shows you can use those skills the right way. Basically, you have to prove to employers in interviews that when you worked at previous jobs, you did many things for the employer to help your employer make money and help your employer solve problems. The second component of a successful job search is the way you use your time wisely. And that's basically just two things. You'll have much greater success in your job search if you can create a sensible job search routine that's easy to follow in order to organize your time and how you use it. And today, if you do not have a job somewhere and you are looking for a job, you obviously are going to go back to work because you will find another job, possibly sooner than you think. So, while you are looking for work, it's also important to plan ahead so that you can successfully return to work without too much hassle. The third component of a successful job search is you have to do research. In fact, in a job search, research is the one thing that you will definitely do over and over as your job search progresses. The first thing you have to research is your own background. There's some important information in your background that you have to present to employers to prove your case. Already mentioned in this presentation is the importance of you having the required relevant job skills. You have to have the right set of skills to do any job, no matter what the job is. Most Americans are multi-skilled because most Americans have done several jobs from the time they started working until they became a grown-up. By the time you are an adult working at a job, you've probably figured out the kinds of jobs that you're good at doing, along with other information about those jobs. For example, do you have the skills to do jobs that you find satisfactory? And are these jobs that give you satisfaction going to be the type of jobs that can help you meet your financial obligations? The second thing you have to do when you research your background is find the examples of you making money and solving problems for previous employers. Once again, this is your track record of success. So, with your track record of success, basically we're talking about your career accomplishments. And you must always remember that employers don't know your career accomplishments. They have no idea that you have been successful working for previous employers at your past jobs. And the simple truth is, employers can't read your mind. You have to be able to effectively communicate the valid reasons, including examples of your accomplishments that prove you should get a job more than anybody else. Also, in your research, the third component, you have to research the jobs that you want to apply for. Most people do that by reading the job posting carefully. That should tell you if you have the necessary skills and career accomplishments that will prove you can do that job the way the employer wants it done. Another aspect of doing research on jobs and to know if you can do those jobs successfully is to visit other online resources such as websites from the U.S. Department of Labor and other websites to get additional information about the job you are seeking and what it takes to do that job. Finally, when you do research, you're going to have to research the company. First, you should determine if it's a good idea for you to work at that company. You can find out by going to the company website and reading as much information as you can find. Most of that information will be found in the link at the company website called About Us. So, you need to determine if it's going to be a good fit for you and the company if you get a job with their company. Also, it's important to research the company by going to their website and clicking About Us, because when you get interviews, usually the first two questions that you will get are going to be, what do you know about this company and why do you want to work at this company? If you don't know what you're talking about by researching that information on their website, you will have a lot of difficulty successfully answering those questions. Now, with the first component, selling yourself to employers, you do have various tools that you can rely upon to help you do that. You'll see in your printed materials some information about your soft skills. Soft skills are skills that are required by everybody on a job, no matter if they're a carpenter, a bus driver, a bank president, or a nurse. So these are 10 skills that once again help you do your job and keep your job. Now, it's important when you consider your job skills to keep in mind the soft skills that you're very good at using on a job. In those 10 skills listed in your printed material, you may see soft skills that you're really good at using on past jobs. For example, if you are a reliable employee, which means you almost never miss work, you almost are never late to work, and you always put in a full productive day on the job, then you need to bring that to the attention of the employer. Once again, the employer cannot read your mind, and they don't know you have these necessary soft skills. Another way to sell yourself to employers is the ability to effectively complete job applications. In the 21st century, that can still mean paper applications. Most of the time, you will have to be able to successfully complete online applications. So you must have the information ready to complete those job applications. A way to do that is to complete and update and keep relevant a master application. You will see that at the very end of your printed materials. And you'll see that's basically a job application. The difference is, when you complete this master application, you do not turn it in to apply for a job. You use the information, once again, as long as it's up to date and correct, with correct spelling and grammar, to help you complete online and paper applications. Basically, it's a time-saving tool. Once again, you have to complete a master application thoroughly, correctly, with up-to-date, relevant job history information. With job applications, sometimes you have to disclose potentially harmful, negative information about your background. The 4 main things that employers are going to want to know about are the times in your work history when you were fired from a job, the times in your work history when you had long periods of unemployment, any time in your work history where you had several jobs in a row in a short amount of time. Also, they will want to know if you've ever been incarcerated. So the best thing you can do, if any of those are in your work background, is to assume they're going to ask about it not only on a job application but in an interview, and prepare how you're going to turn any potential negative information into positive information. Also, if you have those in your background, it's part of your mission as a job seeker to convince that employer that they have nothing to worry about. When you do online applications, it's especially important to pay attention to the web address in the address bar. When you fill out job applications online, for example, at company websites, in fact, no matter where you go on the internet, if you're completing an online application, you must make sure that the letters HTTPS precede www dot whatever the website address is. HTTPS ensures that the website where the application is encrypted and secure, and it makes it much more difficult for hackers to steal your social security number. When you apply for any job, whether it's on paper or on an online application, you will probably have to disclose your social security number so the employer can start your background check. They always have a legal right to request that information. So it's up to you to make sure whatever you do to provide that information, it needs to be safe and secure, and they should maintain your confidentiality with that information. You'll also see in your printed material basic information about resumes. For those of you that aren't familiar with resumes, it's a simple concept. A resume is a sales brochure that's designed to sell you to employers so that they will give you job interviews. Another thing to remember about resumes always contain positive information only. You don't disclose information about any job that you were fired from or other negative information about if you were incarcerated, for example. It is nothing but positive information. When you present that positive information about your background, not only your work history, but your education and training background, you have to make sure that that information is targeted towards the specific job that you want. So, writing effective resumes sometimes takes time and thought. It is well worth the thought and effort to create an effective resume, because often that is going to be the one thing that's going to open the door to get you in to see an employer and ask for a job in an interview. Some other general things about resumes to remember: they're usually short, approximately 1 to 2 pages in length. Obviously, you have to make sure that your spelling and grammar is correct in a resume. And you have to emphasize, once again, your career accomplishments that show employers you can make their company money and you can save your company money. You can also solve problems and you can also save time on the job. If you would like more detailed information about how to create an effective resume, you can watch the video presentation entitled Writing an Effective Resume Using the Gold Mining Technique, or if you are in Amarillo, you can visit the Amarillo Workforce Solutions office, where you will find that we provide a resume workshop twice a month. You can get information about the days and times at your Work in Texas account, or you can find information about the days and times for any workshop at wspanhandle.com. The next tool to sell yourself to employers is a job interview, and that's the goal of everything you do in your job search, because most of the time you will not get a good job with a good paycheck unless you get an interview first, you get through the interview successfully, and then at the end you get the job offer. There are several types of interviews that candidates go through in the Texas Panhandle. Those include, first, traditional interviews, and that's an interview where you get traditional open-ended questions that require you to provide an answer more than yes or no. Another common type of interview in the Texas Panhandle now includes telephone interviews. Obviously, those are conducted over the telephone. Generally, they are fairly short, approximately 15 to 30 minutes in length. Many questions that you get in a telephone interview are very similar to regular interview questions that you may get in person. Based on the experience of many customers in the Texas Panhandle over the years, it's safe to say that in a telephone interview, they are screening you, and they are trying to determine if you should get a face-to-face interview. So just like any other interview, it's very important for you to prepare. The third type of interview, and the type of interview that is used more and more in the Texas Panhandle, is the behavioral interview. And that's where you are going to talk about specific things you did for past employers to help them make money, save time, and solve problems. When you are in an interview, if they ask you a question that starts with "tell me about a time when," or it starts with "what would you do if," then you are in a behavioral interview. And once again, you will have to provide relevant, concrete evidence that you will be the best person for that job. For any interview that you get, it is absolutely necessary that you prepare. Most people don't go through job interviews very often, so it may have been a while since your last interview, and therefore you're going to be rusty. In your preparation, once again, you should research the job and the company to make sure you are a good fit for that job and company, and to make sure that you can prove you can do that job better than anybody else that's applying. Once again, keep in mind they're going to ask you those two icebreaker questions. What do you know about our company, and why do you want to work at our company? Also, based on the kind of job you want at the company where you want to work, you should try to determine what kinds of questions you're going to get. A lot of the questions you'll have to answer in any job interview are going to be based on information you provide in an application and or your resume. So that should be part of the focus on the questions you're going to get. Also, remember that there are websites that have specific examples of job interview questions based on the occupation. For example, you can Google customer service representative interview questions, and you will find numerous websites with examples of those types of questions. Once you have an idea of the questions you're going to get, you need to rehearse your answers, because once again, you have not had an interview in a long time and you're rusty. At the end of your interview, before you go, you're going to be expected to have questions of your own. And you should plan on having at least 3 to 5 questions. They should be thoughtful questions, intelligent questions. They should not be silly questions. You should never ask about salary and benefits in a job interview until you are offered the job. Then it's safe to discuss your salary and benefits. Once your interview is over, after you've asked your questions, you're going to need to figure out how you're going to ask for the job. Don't assume that employers know that, because they can't read your mind. If you want the job, you have to ask for it. If you get to the end of your interview and you do not want the job anymore, do not ask for a job that you do not want. Also, when your interview is over, you should prepare to send a thank you note or a thank you email to thank the interviewer for the opportunity to come in for an interview, and to remind them your top selling points for the job, and to also provide, once again, your contact information so that they can call you to set up an additional interview or call you to let you know that they want you to accept a job offer. For more details about interview preparation, you can watch the video presentation, How to Have a Successful Interview. Plus, an interview workshop is offered twice a month at the Workforce Solutions office in Amarillo. Another necessary tool to sell you for jobs are going to be your computer skills, and more jobs in the workforce require you to use a computer at least on a basic level. You will see in your printed materials the web addresses for 3 websites that can help you improve your computer skills. And those are the websites for GCF Learn Free, Maganga.com, and you can see countless videos on computer skills when you visit YouTube. Again, you must use your time wisely in a job search. Probably, you know by now, it's going to take you more than 2 to 5 hours a week to find a job. The best thing you can do is devote at least 15 to 25 hours a week to your job search activities. By doing that, you will still be able to take off at least 1 or 2 days a week, and you should have plenty of time throughout your day to look for work and take care of your other obligations in your personal life. The main goals of any effective job search are to do things that help you find job leads, and also they should help you contact employers, complete applications, and submit effective resumes so that you can get job interviews. When you are looking for jobs, you can also use your time wisely by not wasting time on job search strategies that aren't effective anymore. For example, it's never a good idea to spend a lot of time, effort, and money submitting resumes to dozens, if not hundreds, of companies just to see who's going to respond. The one thing you should do more than anything else in your job search is rely on your network of contacts more than anything else. When you do get a good job with a great salary and benefit package, almost all the time you will not find that job lead from the internet or from newspaper classifieds. You will probably get it from somebody in your network of contacts. Finally, when you're looking for a job 15 to 25 hours a week, it is important to take time out to rest and rejuvenate yourself. As mentioned earlier, if you spend 15 to 25 hours a week in a job search, you should still have time to take 1 or 2, if not more, days off during the week. And again, you'll still have plenty of time available to do your chores and spend time with your family. Another part of using your time wisely in a job search involves getting yourself ready to return to work. Once again, if you do not have a job right now, you will probably return to work sooner than you think. You must be prepared to return to work without a whole lot of hassle. Be sure to make necessary arrangements to have reliable transportation and reliable child care arrangements if you still have small children in your home. With transportation and child care, you must have backup plans. Eventually, you will have car problems, or you may have a child that is sick and cannot go to daycare or to school. If you do not do so at this time, you should seriously consider getting an alarm clock and use your alarm clock to get out of bed on time. When you are in your interview negotiating the start of your brand new job, it is up to you to determine what the dress code at the company is going to be, and you must make sure that you have the appropriate clothes to follow the company dress code. Most customers who are looking for work want a full-time job, and full-time jobs have meal breaks. So it's up to you to determine if you're going to take your meals to work from home or if you're going to leave the job site and eat out. If you would like to sleep in a little more before you get ready to go to work, you can save time and possibly sleep in a little more by getting your clothes and job lunches prepared the night before you go to work. Also, you can take your bath or shower the night before you go to work to save time. And when you are unemployed, it's very common for job seekers to make appointments for different reasons. If you have necessary appointments, you should consider rescheduling those appointments so that you don't miss work at your new job, especially if you are on probation. Almost all new jobs put the new employees on probation, and you're not supposed to miss work or be late to work during your probation. In your printed materials, you can see a listing of websites where you can get good job leads. That includes the workintexas.com website. Also, it includes listings for national employment websites such as Indeed.com. When you use these websites to gain job leads, you should limit the amount of time you are on the internet. Every week, you should try not to spend more than 5 to 7 or 8 hours a week. If you haven't noticed by now, many of the job leads on the internet have already been filled and the company didn't take them off the internet, or you might possibly be going to a website for a job lead and it might in fact be from a marketer trying to steal your personal information. So use caution when you use the internet for job leads and try not to spend too much time on the internet. There are other things you should invest your time in when you look for job leads. If you are going to use the newspaper classifieds in your job search, you don't have to look every day. Sometimes you can still find pretty good job leads, but you only need to check on Wednesdays and Sundays. For most metropolitan areas, that's when they post new job leads. If you use social media, often you can find job leads through websites like Facebook. You can definitely get job leads when you have an account at linkedin.com. Keep in mind, with Facebook and anything else on the internet, employers want to find out as much as they can about you and your background. That also includes if you have a Facebook page. Legally, employers can ask to see your Facebook page, and they can deny you the opportunity to apply for an open job with their company if you do not allow them to see your Facebook page. So with your Facebook page, make sure that it looks the best you can make it. Be careful of the photographs and information that you share. Try not to come off as an extremist, or definitely don't share offensive material, whatever it may be. There are job fairs that come up in the Panhandle area often. The Amarillo Job Fair is offered twice a year in April and October. So when it gets close to those times for the Amarillo Job Fair, you can visit a website called amarillojobfair.org to find the details and learn who's going to be there. Generally, 60 to 100 employers attend the job fair in Amarillo every time it's offered. So once again, visit the website amarillojobfair.org in early April and early October. Sometimes you can get ideas about places where you can apply for a job by paying attention to news reports on TV, on the radio, or in newspapers or other online sources. You can still visit employers in person. You must use caution. In the Texas Panhandle, it's pretty common for some employers to get angry and upset if you interrupt their workday. So use a lot of caution when you visit with employers in person. If you get the idea that they are angry with you, politely thank them for their time and find somebody else to visit in person. Also in your printed materials, you'll see a list of employment agencies in the Amarillo area. Many job seekers use these agencies to get temporary job assignments and part-time jobs. Always remember, temp jobs and part-time jobs sometimes turn into full-time permanent jobs. So that's a good way to establish a paycheck until you get the job you want. Also, going through a temp or part-time job assignment may help you acquire new job skills. It's also a way to expand your network. And once again, it could turn into a permanent job. So, with the employment agency's information in your printed materials, you'll see their addresses and phone numbers. Contact them first to find out when it's a good time for you to stop by. Also, you should determine if you will have to pay for those services, especially before you sign any documents or contracts. And be sure to read all documentation, and if necessary, read everything in a contract once again before you sign. Again, the most important tool to get great job leads is utilizing your network of contacts. Most of the time when you rely on newspaper classifieds and the internet, you will probably see 15 to 20% of open jobs. Most jobs that are open and need to be filled are never going to be advertised. So we're talking approximately 80 to 85% of open jobs are the jobs that you will never find out about unless you are in the right place at the right time, talking to the right contact in your network. You should tell everybody you know that you are looking for a job. That includes people in your family. your friends, the people that you know where you attend church, people that you know when you play sports, any place where you interact with other people. Try to tell as many people as possible the kind of job you are looking for, what makes you the best person to be hired for that job. Give them an idea of the kind of salary and benefits you're looking for. And finally, tell them how they can reach you by telephone or by email. If you will tell at least 10 people all that information, those 10 people will tell another 10 people. And before you know it, your network of contacts will expand, and you'll have a much greater chance of getting a great job lead. If you would like more information in person, the Amarillo Workforce Solutions office provides a job readiness workshop twice a month to the general public. In your workintexas.com account, you can find out information about the days and times when the job readiness workshop is offered. And thank you for your time.